Shooting in the 70s consistently, breaking 80 putting edition. This is part of my wider series of breaking 80, covering every aspect of the game. Today's episode we're going to focus on putting. There are so many gains we can have with putting. You're going to be a little bit shocked at some of these numbers, and hopefully from the end of today's videos you're going to learn that pace control is something you need to be practicing a whole lot more. These putting stats are going to blow your head off. Let's start with free putt rates. So what rate are people free putting who are trying to break 80, the people who are consistently shooting in the 70s? So 16 to 20 foot. Yeah, 16 to 20 foot. That kind of distance, you would have hit a good approach into these kind of distances. Break 80 shooters are going to free putt around 7% of the time. Someone struggling to break 80, 13% of the time. 13% of the time from 16 to 20 foot. And it just continues, 21 to 25 foot. It's 13 to 20% of the time for people struggling to break 80. And then if we move out to 36 to 40 foot, you know, where we're all thinking this could be a free putt, it's 33% for the break 80 shooters, 44% for the people struggling to break 80. We need to get these free putt rates down to give you the best chance of shooting the scores you want to shoot. Let's take distance control to kick us off. Let's play some games. I love playing some games around distance control to try and get you competitive, try and understand how often you actually can two putt. So I've got one ball. Often people come to the putting green with like 3 balls in their hand. I'm going to have one ball, and I want you to take one ball, and I want you to go back and forth, so to a hole from any random length distance. And how often can you two putt? Like how many two putts can you have in a row? Everything has to be tapped in, even the small ones. So I want a variation of lengths, breaks, those kind of ideas. Really push yourself to the limits. Make sure you're putting a read in there as well, because the read is severely going to make a difference to how close you hit it. So I've hit decent pace there, but because my read was so poor, this putt, and my read was better, would be here, more than half the distance closer. So making sure you're taking the time to try and read each putt, to try and really put yourself under some kind of almost gaming conditions. So there you go, I was 1 in a row, not good enough. And for me, it wasn't pace control on that occasion, it was actually the read making the pace wrong, which leads us on to the next point. Getting better at reading putts, working out what allows you to see the breaks. May it be bending down behind the ball and then trying to hit your putt. May it be getting the other side of the hole and having a look. Sometimes you see breaks better from this side of the hole, making sure you've got enough time in your round to do those kind of things. Using your feet, which is a skill so many people could really use if you feel like you can't see breaks. Using your feet, which you use every day, to orienteer you into understanding if you're going downhill, uphill, side hills, and your brain and your whole body just adjusts to make sure you stay upright, is a skill that you can bring to the golf course and use. Doing an aim point lesson, something like that, so you can learn how to use your feet. I know it's not for everyone, but getting better at reading your greens is absolutely going to kill it when it comes to pace control. And remember, pace control and reading is not all about distance. Remember, this distance of putt, pace control is going to dictate if I hold or not as well. And that's what I would like to see in putting a lot more of as well, is more experimental ideas, more trying to mix it up. Yes, aim point's a little bit out there for lots of people, but if it helps you with your green reading and then in turn makes you hold more putts, why would you not do it? And increasing your make rate, so thinking about start direction with pace, annual reads. I like playing a game where I try and roll them in from different points. So that one's trying to come in from the right, and go firmer and straighter with that one. And then last one, I'm going to try and repeat that one, just kind of dead weight out to the right a little bit more, trying to just dial it in. I'm going to play with my pace, even on the smaller ones, to make sure I've got that variation of putts, because you're going to get big swingers where you need to dial it in. You're going to get ones uphill that you need to hit a little bit harder. You need to be robust with how you're hitting your putts. Taking that bit of time on your setup, so to work out if you hit putts straighter, better start direction from, say, lead foot, or a wider stance nearer the middle of your feet. if you use what we call prayer grip, with both thumbs down on top of the club, both fingers going down, or the reverse overlap, which is the common, or even just a 10-finger grip. Whatever it may be that starts the ball on the right direction, getting things like putting mirrors to check your eye line, playing with the grips and then trying to get it through gates, those kind of ideas as well that you can get could really help you. Lip out. Really help you work out start direction. That with some good pace and green reading. Huge gains here. Like, we all can putt well. Here's another thing as well to think about. Most of you are not practicing enough. You're not practicing your putting nowhere near enough. 5 minutes a day at home doing things about just trying to start the ball on a straight line will pay huge dividends when you get out here on the course. If you want to work out how to improve your putting, but remember, breaking this 80 score, shooting in the 70s consistently, is about doing every different aspect of your game well and saving strokes. If you want to know how to improve your driving, this video here in my Break 80 comprehensive series, which you can also listen to as a podcast on my podcast, Hack It Out Golf Podcast, is helping loads of people.